listening to the Bots and Bosses podcast, the only show where robots and humans attempt to work side by side. Presented by John Binks, technologist, author, and your AI ringling tour guide. So, buckle up and let's deep dive.
Welcome to the Bots and Bosses podcast, presented by John Binks. This is episode 19, and originally aired on September 15th, 2025. Today's show is sponsored by Bots and Bosses. This podcast was created by John Binks, along with multiple sources and experts. Today, we're doing a deep dive into something maybe less glamorous than AI code, but absolutely critical, the human side. We're talking organizational change management. Basically, how do you build those bots and bridges, as some sources put it? And the mission for you, our listener, our learner, is pretty clear today. We want to pull out the key insights on why so many AI projects seem to, fizzle out. And maybe more importantly, figure out how leaders can actually steer their teams through this massive transition successfully.
Yeah, and it's fascinating, isn't it? When you look at the research, there's this huge paradox right at the center. Everyone's chasing the tech, the algorithms, the latest models. But the single biggest thing stopping AI from scaling, from delivering real value, it's not the code, it's culture, it's process, that's people.
That really jumps out from the numbers too. We were looking at Amit Karche's work, and it's pretty stark. Something like 70, even 80% of AI projects just fail to scale. They get stuck in pilot mode. And the reason, people and process issues. The tech might work fine, but the organization itself doesn't adapt.
Exactly. And it gets even worse when you look specifically at generative AI. Some MIT research points to like 95% failure rates for pilots delivering ROI.
95%. Wow. That's almost everything. Why is Gen AI proving so particularly tough for organizations? What's the difference?
Well, think about it. Traditional AI often automates a very specific repetitive task.
Yeah.
Set it up, it runs. Generative AI, though, it creates new stuff.
Yeah.
Drafts, ideas, code. It forces the human into a completely different role. Suddenly, you're not just doing the task, you're prompting, editing, fact-checking, supervising the AI's output. People don't change how they work, how they think to fit that new editor role. The whole thing just stalls. It's like buying a super fast race car but trying to drive it through a swamp without changing the tires. It just doesn't work.
And this isn't just a temporary bump either, is it? The scale of change we're looking at is immense. Sources like the World Economic Forum and LinkedIn are predicting that by 2030, which isn't that far away, 70% of the skills needed for most jobs will be different because of AI and automation.
70%. It really underscores why change management isn't just some HR function anymore.
Yeah.
It's arguably the core leadership job right now.
Okay, so if you're a leader staring at that 95% failure rate for Gen AI pilots, and you know skills are shifting that fast, what's the absolute first thing you have to get right? Where do you even start?
You absolutely have to define the North Star. Leaders need to be crystal clear on the why. And crucially, focus on the outcomes, not the technology itself. You can't just say, we're going to use AI everywhere. That doesn't mean anything to someone on the front line.
Right, it needs to be tangible.
Exactly. Frame it as, we're using these tools to cut down new product development time by half, or this AI will eliminate most of that awful admin paperwork, freeing you up to actually talk to clients. Make it about the value, the benefit, the capability it unlocks for people and for the business. That's the vision people can get behind.
Makes sense. But a vision isn't enough if the leaders aren't visibly committed, right? We saw some BCG data on this. When leaders actually use AI themselves, talk about it, show they believe in it, employee positivity towards AI jumps dramatically, like from 15% to over 50%. They have to, walk the talk.
Oh, absolutely. That visible sponsorship is non-negotiable.
Yeah.
But that energy often dies in the middle. Middle managers, they're the ones who have to translate that grand vision into day-to-day reality for their teams. They're the bridge custodians. If they don't get specific AI leadership training, if they don't feel equipped to guide their people through the uncertainty and, frankly, the fear, the whole initiative could just collapse right there.
Which brings us squarely to culture. You hear it all the time. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. Well, it seems like it eats AI projects too. And the biggest cultural hurdle seems to be just fear. Anxiety about jobs, about being replaced.
Yes, fear is huge. And maybe one of the most counterintuitive things we found is, who is feeling that fear? You'd assume it's mostly frontline workers worried about automation.
Yeah.
But one survey we looked at, it showed 43% of leaders feared losing their jobs to AI. That was actually higher than the 36% of frontline employees who felt the same way. Anxiety is hitting everyone.
Wow, okay. 43% of leaders. If the leaders themselves are anxious, how on earth can they project confidence and lead the change effectively? How do you tackle that fear, that anxiety, and build the trust you need for people to even try these new tools?
It starts with a deliberate trust strategy. First, reframe the narrative. Leaders must consistently communicate how AI is meant to augment human roles, not replace them. Talk about AI as a co-pilot, a tool that handles the grunt work so people can focus on higher value, creative, strategic tasks, the stuff that needs human judgment.
Okay, the co-pilot message is good, but what happens when the co-pilot messes up? If the AI hallucinates, gives bad advice? Doesn't that just shatter trust instantly, regardless of the message? How do you build trust in the technology itself, separate from trusting the leader?
That's where transparency and clear guardrails are essential. McKinsey's research really emphasizes this. You need codified ethics policies. You need clear guidelines on where AI is appropriate, how it should be used, and critically, where human oversight is mandatory. When people understand the rules of the road, they feel safer driving. Look at the Morgan Stanley example. It's perfect. They rolled out a generative AI assistant for their wealth advisors. But they didn't just throw it over the wall. They tested it rigorously. Vetted it for accuracy, for compliance, making sure it wouldn't give bad financial advice.
That sounds like a massive upfront effort.
It was, but the result, a 98% adoption rate among advisors. Why? Because they trusted the tool. They knew it wouldn't jeopardize their clients or their own reputations. The groundwork paid off.
And accountability is key here too, isn't it?
Absolutely crucial. The organization, the leader, must remain accountable for AI's outputs and mistakes, not the machine. Making that explicitly clear that a human is always ultimately responsible builds immense trust. It shows you're not just outsourcing judgment.
Okay, let's shift gears to execution. We've got the vision, we're working on trust.
Yeah.
But you can't just layer AI onto old, clunky processes, can you? The workflows themselves need rethinking.
No, absolutely not. Slapping AI onto a broken process just gives you a slightly faster broken process. You have to reimagine the work itself. And it's usually not a big bang change. Think of it as phases. Phase 1 is often augment. AI helps with specific tasks within an existing workflow, like AI suggesting email responses. Phase 2 is streamline. AI takes over entire steps in a process. Maybe 90% of insurance claims get approved automatically, and humans shift to managing the complex 10% exceptions. Their role changes from doer to overseer.
And then phase 3, this sounds a bit more sci-fi, autonomous swarm and minimum viable organizations, MVOs. What does that actually mean for leaders trying to manage change today?
It means thinking about a future where teams of specialized AI agents might coordinate entire business outcomes, say, managing a whole supply chain with very little human intervention. Planning for that now means focusing on standardizing your data, your processes, your APIs today, so these future AI swarms can actually talk to each other effectively. It enforces discipline now to enable greater automation and efficiency later.
Getting there requires involving the people who actually do the work now, doesn't it? I saw a stat that transformation success rates actually double if you involve at least 7% of the workforce in designing the changes.
Yes, make them co-creators. And a really smart way to start to get that initial buy-in is to automate the tasks people hate doing first. Go for the low-hanging fruit that makes their lives demonstrably easier. That tedious report nobody wants to compile? Automate it. That mind-numbing data entry. Find an AI for that. Think about customer service reps spending ages on after-call paperwork. If AI cuts that drudgery down significantly, you've just won a huge ally for the next change. It creates momentum.
If you are enjoying our podcast, please click like and follow our show. Remember to tell your friends about our show.
So we're automating the hated tasks, redesigning workflows. But if jobs are changing so fundamentally, like that 70% skills shift, we have to talk about upskilling. The investment in training must be huge.
It has to be. AI literacy is basically the new digital literacy. It's table stakes now. Employees need to grasp the basics, how prompts work, the fact that AI can make things up, hallucinate, and that its outputs are shaped by its training data, biases, and all. Just understanding those fundamentals helps demystify it and reduces that black box fear.
And it can't just be a one-off webinar, right? The data suggests real adoption comes with more sustained effort. We saw that regular AI use spikes when employees get at least 5 hours of proper training, plus ongoing coaching or support. But currently, only about a third feel they're getting that. That's a big gap. It's a massive gap between ambition and reality in many places. Companies need to treat AI skills as a core competency, not an optional add-on. Look at Singtel. They launched an entire AI academy, aiming to train over 10,000 employees. That sends a powerful message. This is important, and we'll invest in you to learn it.
Practically speaking, for organizations maybe not ready for a full academy, what works on the ground?
Identify and empower your internal AI champions. Often, you find pockets of expertise, maybe among younger managers. That stat about millennial managers having high AI expertise, around 62%, is telling. Leverage them. Set up internal communities, call them AI guilds, centers of excellence, whatever fits your culture.
Like peer-to-peer support networks.
Exactly. Places where people can share tips, ask dumb questions without feeling judged, troubleshoot problems together. It helps knowledge spread organically, much faster than a central training team ever could. It builds capability from the ground up.
Okay, this brings us to a really fascinating, almost meta idea. Using AI itself as a tool for managing the change process. The bot isn't just the change, it can help manage the change.
Right. Think about sentiment analysis. AI, specifically natural language processing, can analyze vast amounts of anonymized employee feedback emails, chat logs, survey comments. It can detect patterns, like maybe a sudden spike in negative language around job security in the marketing department. It acts like an early warning system for anxiety hotspots.
Allowing leaders to intervene more precisely instead of just guessing.
Precisely. And it enables personalized communication too. AI can see who engages with what type of content. Maybe one group responds well to short videos, another prefers detailed written guides. AI can help tailor the change communications, even send targeted nudges so the message actually lands effectively for different people.
You could even A/B test your change initiatives, couldn't you? Like marketers test ad copy?
Yes, why not? Test different training approaches, different communication styles. See what actually moves the needle on adoption or understanding in a specific team. Use data to make your change management more agile and effective rather than relying purely on intuition.
It's a powerful toolkit. But we have to remember the limits, don't we? AI is a sidekick here, not the hero.
Absolutely. Cannot stress that enough. AI can provide data, insights, early warnings. It cannot provide empathy. It can't listen actively like a human can. It doesn't understand cultural nuances. Leaders still need to interpret the data, have the difficult conversations, build the relationships, show compassion. The human element remains paramount. You can't automate trust.
Which really brings us full circle, doesn't it? The technology is advancing at lightning speed, but success still hinges on the humans. It's about blending those unique human strengths, leadership, empathy, judgment, with what AI does best, handling data, finding patterns, boosting efficiency, building those strong bridges.
Exactly. So, maybe a final thought for you, the learner, to take away. We know involving employees in redesign is key. So think about your own work. What's one simple, maybe mundane, repetitive task that you dislike doing? Could AI potentially help automate or simplify that? And if it could, how would that freed up time allow you to focus on something more strategic, more creative, more, well, human?
Today's show was human-inspired, empowered with AI assistance. Be sure to visit us, www.botsandbosses.com. Remember, the bots are getting smarter, but you're still the boss.
Well, that's a wrap of this episode of the Bots and Bosses podcast. Enjoyed the show? Don't just listen. Follow the Bots and Bosses podcast and connect with John Binks online. Remember, the bots are getting smarter, but you're still the boss. For now, see you next time.